Welcome into another edition of the Leadership Library, hosted by CEO and author Rocky Romanella. Rocky is the author of the book Tighten the Lug Nuts, The Principles of Balanced Leadership, and has over 40 years of business experience as a prominent member of the UPS Supply Chain Solutions team, as well as the CEO of Unitech Global Services. So sit back, grab your notebook, and take a seat, and get ready for this edition of the Leadership Library.
Welcome to the Leadership Library. I'm your host, Rocky Romanella. Hey, want to answer one quick question. Got an email last week from quite a few people. However, I want to answer this one question. And the question I thought was a very good question. And I think I never viewed it as a challenging question to me personally for something that I said, but I think one that's good to talk about, which was if they weren't quite sure what I meant by control the narrative. I don't mean that you control what people think or say. What I mean is when you give them the knowledge, then they understand what you're doing. They may not be happy with what you're asking them to do, but you're asking them to do it from an honest heart, and it's something that needs to be done. You're not asking them to try to figure it out with no information. So when I mean control the narrative, I don't mean control what they think or what they say, but if you give them the understanding of what's going on, they're going to get to the conclusion, the right conclusion versus I'm going to fill these blanks in on my own. So that's what I meant by controlling the narrative. It's not controlling them. It's giving them the amount of information they need to make the best decision possible. Void of information, they will make up the information. Does that make sense? Okay. So now we're going to talk about your version. So we talked about your expectations. How about your version of what great expectations look like, right? Because we all have expectations. So what's that? What's your version of your expectation for your organization? What does good look like? What does your team, when they're really humming and they're really doing good? And because when you get in that zone, that's the best place to be, right? You're going to get in that zone that it's happening for you and things are going well. You're in that zone. You're in that profitability zone. You're in that people zone where you're hiring some of the best people and they're enjoying working for you. And you really have got a good group of candidates ready for that next level of responsibility. You've got some players that are really, you can see them change. You can see them grow. So what's your great expectation of an organization? For me, I would say it's this, that we have an organization that we value individuals, that they see that they're not part of the problem, they're part of the solution, that our organizations value diversity, not only diversity in who they are as individuals, their race, gender, creed, color. No, they're also diverse in their thought process, right? Diversity is much more than the things that we need to do to be inclusive. They're also inclusive in the way you think, that you can listen to people that may have a different view on things. You can disagree without being disagreeable. That to me is the type of organization that you want to have, that you get many thoughts, you collect those thoughts, you think about those thoughts, but then once we're all come to an agreement, we kind of nod our heads and we're ready to go. It may not be exactly how you would have done it, but your voice was in there. And so it's a combination of the things that you think and some others think, and you get the best kind of, answer by everyone being part of that answer. And I think that's important. You understand that everything that you do is done from a professional perspective. For example, your voicemails and emails should never be unprofessional. We always say, I always say, hey, don't send an email that you're not willing to see in a court of law. Don't send an email out that, you wouldn't want to get yourself. Think about those emails. Think about the way you address people. Think about things from their perspective, right? We always say, think like a customer. Well, but you want your people to feel like valued individuals. Do you feel valued when people talk to you in a certain way? So what's your view of the great expectation of your organization? It is a place where people feel valued, where they're respected, where their opinion matters. It may not be exactly go the way they want it to go, but they at least had an opportunity to be heard. They believe in their heart of hearts that we look at them and you look at them, that they're not part of the problem, they're part of the solution. I do believe that where people are still our greatest asset, they'll always be our greatest asset. So I think you have to start to think about that in yourself. That's your strategic vision as a leader. What's my expectation of what my team, what my organization is going to look like when they take the field of play. When they're in the marketplace, what are my sales representatives? What do they look like? How do they conduct themselves? What are they going to do? How are they going to handle it? How do they follow up on things? Do they understand that integrity is more than the obvious integrity, but it's also integrity of their word? You asked me if I could do something, I said I would, but I didn't follow up on it means I lost my integrity of my word. So your word to each other is very important. So there's integrity of deed and there's integrity of word. So that's what I mean by saying it's you have to, as a leader, set up what your great expectations are going to be for your organization. With that, I will say goodbye. If you have any questions about other ideas or other ways to view that great expectation, or if you want to send me an example of maybe what your great expectations are currently inside of your area of responsibility, feel free to do that at rockyromanella@gmail.com. Visit the website, tightenthelugnuts.com. I'd love to see some thoughts on how you've laid out your great expectations for your responsibility, your organization, the people that are in your care, the team that you may manage. Please feel free to send me your thoughts. Until we meet again, be safe, and thank you for being part of the Leadership Library family.